Shalom, dear brothers and sisters. Is unity within the Messianic Hebrew roots movement possible? For most of us, maintaining unity in our own homes can be very challenging. However, the challenge to establish unity amongst believers seems almost impossible at times. Before we attempt to address this issue of unity, let me try and dispel some myths. First of all, it is a myth to believe that we must all agree. How boring anyway. There will always be differences because all of us have limited knowledge and understanding. Secondly, many people confuse unity with uniformity or ecumenical oneness, which can only lead to deception and compromise. But there is a destructive kind of division that causes truth to fall in the streets. Isaiah 59 verse 14. Mark 3 verse 25 says, if a house is divided against itself, that house is unable to stand. In an apparent contradiction, Yeshua says in Matthew chapter 10:34, do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to bring division among a man and his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are those of his own household. We need to understand the context in which Yeshua was speaking. Yeshua was warning his disciples that they would find themselves in an environment that was extremely hostile towards the truth, towards his Torah. This condition prevails today, not only in the world, but also within our hearts. Jeremiah 17:9 reminds us that our hearts are desperately wicked and sick. Who of us can truly say we know and understand the intention of our own hearts? We might not like to admit it, but most people out there don't really care too much about what the Hebrew roots movement has to say or think. However, the days are soon coming when this will change. Truth is often rejected when it first appears to us because it appears negative and contrary to all we have learned and believed. We have a sad legacy of this as believers. Yeshua knew that many would reject his teaching of the Torah, and so he says in Matthew chapter 7 verse 13, enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter in through it. Because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life, and there are few who find it. Many believers can testify of the price that they've had to pay since embracing the Hebrew roots of the faith. In the Messianic restoration within the Hebrew roots movement, one would think that our search for truth will at least unite us, yet we appear to be no better off than our Jewish brothers when it comes to this issue. There's a saying, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. Let us, however, not justify our carnality. Paul teaches in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 3, for you are still fleshly. For since there is envy and strife and divisions among you, are you not fleshly and walking according to man? When one says, I am of Paul, and another says, I am of Apollos, are you not fleshly? What then is Apollos, and what is Paul, but servants through whom you believed, as the master assigned to each? I planted, Apollos watered, but Elohim was giving growth. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is any at all, but Elohim who gives the increase. And he who plants and he who waters are one, and each one shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. For we are fellow workers of Elohim. You are the field of Elohim, the building of Elohim. According to the favor of Elohim, which was given to me as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another builds on it, but each one should look how he builds on it. For no one is able to lay any other foundation except that which is laid, which is Yeshua Messiah. And if anyone builds on this foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each one's work shall be revealed, for the day shall show it up, because it is revealed by fire. And the fire shall prove the work of each one, what sort it is. If anyone's work remains, which he has built on, he shall receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, but so as through fire. Do you not know that you are the dwelling place of Elohim, and that the Spirit of Elohim dwells in you? If anyone destroys the dwelling place of Elohim, Elohim shall destroy him. For the dwelling place of Elohim is set apart, which you are. Let no one deceive himself. If anyone among you seems to be wise in this age, let him become foolish, so that he may become wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Elohim, for it has been written, he catches the wise in their craftiness. Paul goes on to say in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1, I call upon you, therefore, I, the prisoner of the Master, to walk worthy of the calling with which you were called, with all humility and meekness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, being eager to guard the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace, one body and one Spirit, as you also were called into one expectation of your calling, one Master, one belief, one immersion, one Elohim and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. Finally, let me share a parable of the ships. Stories of ships have always captured our imaginations. Consider the following parable about ships and the unity within the Hebrew Roots movement. There are a multitude of ships out there on the ocean of humanity. Note carefully that all of these ships sincerely seek to reach their destination. These ships are all headed for the Messianic rule of the millennial kingdom of our Messiah. Many of these ships will ultimately reach their destination, regardless of how you feel about them. Sadly, not all these ships are going to make it. If you think of the parable of the 10 virgins in Matthew 25, there are some severe storms coming ahead, as well as dangerous obstacles that are floating on the ocean. We have been given many clear instructions concerning our voyage, yet many choose to ignore these instructions as how to reach our destination. One of the great dangers on our ships is mutiny. There are several people who believe they have been chosen by the admiral of the fleet to usurp positions of authority that have not been given to them. These people must be asked to leave. If you look on the ocean, you will see a multitude of small little boats. These people refuse to gather with other fellow sailors who claim that they don't need to listen or take any instructions from men. They apparently receive direct instructions from the admiral of the fleet. Sadly, many of these will never reach their destiny. In conclusion, 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 12 says, so that he who thinks he stands, let him take heed lest he fall. Philippians 1 verse 6 says, being persuaded of this, that he who has begun a good work in you shall perfect it until the day of Messiah. May you have a blessed journey, and let's look forward to seeing one another in the millennium. May he find us worthy. Yahweh bless you, my fellow Israelite brethren.